Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. And today we have a different sort of video than we've ever done before. So we're going to be doing our very first cookbook review. And the book we're going to be reviewing is Poole's Recipes and Stories from a Modern Diner from Ashley Christensen. This was the very first book that we ever cooked from on this channel, and one of the reasons that we started this whole process. My husband wanted me to cook more from my cookbooks, and we had small children, and we couldn't go to Poole's Diner, which is the restaurant that a lot of the food in here comes from that restaurant. In fact, I think almost everything has been on the menu at some point in some variation. And we really enjoyed the restaurant and just couldn't get there with our small children. It's not really small children friendly. The kids don't really love the food, and it was very kind of a small restaurant, a little bustling kind of thing. My kids are older now. We can take them there just fine. They will find things they like to eat. But the very first time I took them there to eat, we got a roast chicken plate for them to eat, and they were very disappointed in the fancy food. My daughter really likes fancy food now, and she's very adventurous, so there's hope. But at the time, it was not great for us. And then COVID happened. And so before that, they didn't take reservations, so it was really difficult to get in, especially for parents. We'd have to have a babysitter, and we couldn't get reservations. We'd have to go, and we'd have to wait, and it was just never a sure thing for us. So then we started making food from the cookbook. In fact, I'd had the cookbook for a while before we started the channel, but just hadn't made a lot from it because sometimes you have to work yourself up to making a big complicated recipe, which some of these are, but not quite all of them. So I'll talk about that later. We really liked this book because it does show you how to make the food from the restaurant. So if you really love their mac and cheese, they call it macaroni au gratin. It is in the book, and it's actually a really easy recipe to make. It does have a few steps, but it's not a difficult recipe. There are a lot of not difficult recipes. The steak is really easy. They have recipes in here for dressings, some components of things like roasted tomatoes, marinated vegetables, creme fraiche, charred onions. So a lot of times you're making several different recipes for components. And those recipes are all pretty easy, but then you also have to put together the main recipe that uses those things. So but it's just a little bit more difficult when you have a bunch of recipes like that and you don't already have that ingredient set up and ready in your refrigerator like they probably do at the restaurant where they have multiple people making multiple things, and somebody makes the mayo. Mayo is super easy to make, but when you're trying to make just I think deviled eggs, and you have to make creme fraiche and you have to make mayo, those are two other steps, and creme fraiche takes days. So it's just not something that you can throw together necessarily on a whim. But it also includes like the pie crust recipe. You make a pie crust, it makes 4 separate pie crusts, and so you can freeze it to use it at a different time. So that's great. But it has all sorts of different recipes, desserts, appetizers, cocktails even. So all of the things that they serve are in this book. Most, anyway. So occasionally I feel like the recipes are not scaled down appropriately or not necessarily have been tested thoroughly. The very first recipe we made in this book, and I'll link that up here, it was the strawberry shortcake, where you make a biscuit as the shortcake. And I believe on camera, I'm sitting there trying to do the math, and it tells you to roll it out of a certain size and then cut the biscuits to a certain size, except if you do that, you don't make the number of biscuits that you need for the recipe. I don't remember the exact. We started this channel in 2019, I believe. So it's been almost 6 years. It's been over 6 years that we've been doing this. So since we filmed that recipe, and I haven't made that in particular again. I make strawberry shortcake all the time, but I don't necessarily make her version. And I do make it with biscuits a lot, but I don't look at the recipe in this book. But occasionally those things happen. Sometimes they're a little difficult. Like I said, many, many, many different mini recipes that go into one larger recipe. I think the short rib pot pie was one of the absolute worst ones that I've ever made. Not as far as the flavor, but as far as the number of components that have to go into it and different things that you have to make. And I'll link that one up here. And I think there are at least 2 videos for that, because way more than that, because there's a stock, there's a compound butter, there's a crust, there's a filling, and in the filling you roast a lot of the different vegetables separately. Yeah, it's just a lot. So, but there are tons of recipes that I will make over and over again. In fact, the macaroni au gratin is one that we will buy the cheeses in bulk and then portion it out so that we have them in the freezer, that we can just grate it all up and then make a batch whenever we want. The cornmeal fried okra, I think she cuts them in half so they're not entirely whole, but it's a very simple cornmeal with a little salt, I think, and then that is how you fry that okra. It's relatively simple. And the Tabasco mayo, I don't boil down the Tabasco, but I will make a spicy mayo to dip them in. So I don't do exactly that recipe because it makes a ton and I don't need a ton most of the time. And the watermelon salad, which is on the cover of the book. So this is one of our favorite recipes. And even though it includes goat cheese, that cheese is chef. Everyone in my family loves it and will eat it. And my husband famously does not like goat cheese. So that's one of our favorites as well. So those are the must-make recipes from this book. And I would suggest anybody who loves Poole's Diner and maybe can't get there as often as they would like, you can learn how to make a lot of the things they make from this book. You should buy this book. But it might be better if you already have a good base of cooking ability. So you already have some cooking knowledge. You're not a brand new cook. Might not be the best book for you. So if that's the case, maybe don't buy the book. Buy it for a friend who's a cook and hope they'll invite you over for dinner. Don't buy the book if you get really easily frustrated by recipes that have multiple components that all have to be treated a specific way. That might be a problem with this book. And maybe don't buy the book if you can't kind of see where something's going wrong and make modifications, either with the instructions or with your tools. So everybody's stove cooks a little bit differently. Everybody's oven might be a little different, a little finicky. It might cook a little faster on one side or the other. If you don't have a good handle on those things, maybe this isn't the book for you, because some of it is really important. But that's it. This is a book that we love and that I cook from often, but I'm probably done cooking from it for this channel. We've cooked a lot of things, and I'm really just trying to expand our palette, expand our base of recipes right now to learn some new things. So if you love this book, or if you hate this book, let me know why in the comments down below. If you have it and you cook from it, let me know what your favorite recipe is, maybe one that I haven't cooked, and I can give that a try on or off camera. And if you're enjoying watching me cook, it will really help me if you give me a thumbs up, if you hit the subscribe button, and leave me comments, and come back and watch me make something else. Well, watch me make something next week.